Have you ever wondered who writes history? Or for that matter, how it's made and recorded? They say that history is simply the passing down of stories about people's lives and how they impacted others. Well, if that's true, then here's a story of a boy from good soil who traveled the world, touched a lot of lives, and came back home to live and write his story. And it's called A Tree That Grew in Midway. The saga of Harold Lucas Jr. is as good as it gets. The only child born to Harold Sr. and Althea Beatrice Lucas. He was born in 1932 during the Great Depression in Midway, Daytona Beach, smack dab in the middle of the black community. He picked up his family values and work ethic from them, and they came in handy because young Harold would be forced to grow up far earlier than expected.
My father came to Daytona because of Bethune-Cookman College. Ms. Bethune was looking for an accountant to set up an accounting system for her school, and she asked his brother, who was working in Tuskegee, Alabama at the time, if he knew someone that could set up an accounting system for the school. My dad's brother said, yes, I know someone that can do it, but he won't be able to come until the spring because of a previous accident. So Ms. Bethune and my father communicated, and he came down into Daytona Beach, Florida in the spring of 1920 and began his career as an accountant at Bethune-Cookman University, or college at that time.
Traveling back and forth to New York was exciting for Harold. And so was the responsibility of driving his father around in a car many years before he was even able to earn a driver's license.
My driving my father around came about as a necessity because in 1942, he had been hospitalized and he had to go to the doctor. And I went up on the campus to see if I could find Grady James or Eddie Descheville, who used to drive him around during the school year. This being Christmas time, they all had jobs and I couldn't find any. So my dad said, well, Harold, you've been sitting in the car shifting the gears. And I said, don't you know how to drive? And I said, yeah, I know how to drive. And he said, well, I got to go to the doctor. So I got in the car and immediately backed the car out of the driveway, drove down Jefferson Street to Cypress Street, down Cypress Street to Pearl, and up into Dr. Hill's yard. And this was a stick shift Chevrolet on a dirt road. So that began my driving experience.
The early 1940s in Daytona Beach was an exciting growth period for the town and for the blooming young college with a dynamic woman leader who doted on Luke like her own son.
Ms. Bethune instilled in me a lot of personal things, habits and ideals and desires. Anytime that I would see her walking on the campus, I used to walk with her. And she would say things like, Harold, do you see that piece of paper over there? Go and pick it up for Mrs. Bethune. Because you see, we are a college that's founded on donations. And if someone was driving down the street and they saw that piece of paper over there, they might not give us any money. But if they saw it, because first impressions mean a lot. And so I learned about first impressions.
He saw the value of leadership with dignity from Dr. Bethune, and he learned the business skill to lead and serve his community from his dad. Some folks say that we're the sum total of all of the great people who have coached and inspired us. But who's inspired Luke? Furthermore, what are his plans for his foundation?
It is my hope that the foundation will become an integral part of the community because I feel the need for people being able to be exposed to certain things that I am in hopes of the foundation presenting or giving us. For example, we're going to have quarterly community meetings that will remind us of meetings that Bethune used to have in which they discussed all kinds of issues. We're going to have a scholarship program which will enable young people in the community to go to receive a scholarship to go on to college. And then there will be a display of different things that have happened in the community since its inception, and hopefully it will make us realize how important the past is to us. Because if we don't have any vision of the past, then we might not know where we're going to go in the future, or how we can better go where we need to go in the future.
He's been a soldier, a champion, a coach, administrator, father, community leader, author, master storyteller. Well, how does he want the final chapters of his life story to be written?
The purpose of the foundation is to acknowledge the past, enhance the present, and contribute to the future. The future being all of the young people that will come behind us in the Midtown area.
You know, they say that history is simply the passing down of stories about people's lives and how they impacted others. Well, it must be true, because I read it in a book about a boy who traveled the world, touched a lot of lives, and he came back home to write and live his story in Midway.